Many gamers have wondered why Dragon's Dogma 2 hasn't come out sooner, especially since the first game was a cult classic that eventually grew to sizable numbers in terms of sales. The answer was that Capcom simply couldn't dedicate the team to making the sequel title due to other games having importance. However, now that they've had their schedules freed up, they want to deliver a sequel that expands everything the first title had and adds in everything they couldn't put in before. So, if you were hoping that the next game would be bigger and better than the last, you will get your wish. Black Myth Wukong is an upcoming action RPG inspired by a 16th century Chinese novel called Journey to the West. The narrative of the game is based on the adventures of the Monkey King, a famous mythical character who is one of the novel's primary characters. In the game, this powerful monkey is referred to as the Destined One. He bears several abilities, such as the power to turn into a swamp of flying insects or transform into a giant monster. During his adventures, he will face various opponents, from headless monks to a powerful white dragon. Star Wars Outlaws is the new open-world Star Wars project from Ubisoft, Massive Entertainment and Lucasfilm Games, and it'll see us taking up the role of Kay Vess. Despite being set in a familiar period between Empire and Jedi, Star Wars Outlaws has garnered excitement with its captivating world and diverse combat mechanics showcased in previews. With its branching dialogue options, varied gunplay styles, stealth elements, and potential exploration of the galactic underworld, Outlaws holds tremendous promise.
Hey, Nick! Catch! This is getting bad.
In 2020, Square Enix unveiled Final Fantasy VII Remake. As its name suggests, this game is a remake of the popular 1997 PlayStation game Final Fantasy VII. However, Final Fantasy VII Remake doesn't cover the entire story of the original game. It is the first in a planned trilogy of games, and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is the second one. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth picks up the adventures of Cloud and his friends where Final Fantasy VII Remake ended. The heroes are leaving Midgar, with Cloud and Sephiroth taking a walk into a wider world in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth's reveal trailer. The Tekken franchise is one of the longest-running and most endearing fighting game franchises out there, and for good reason. The series is known for its brutal fighting system, fun characters, and a fierceness about it that puts it above other franchises. Tekken 7 is widely hailed as the best in the line because of not only its story, but the overall focus on gameplay and customization to make sure everyone enjoyed it. Now, Tekken 8 must try to top it, and the reveal trailer showed that things are picking up right where they left off. Jin and Kazuya are at it once more, and the game looks beautiful. The first 3D survival horror game was Alone in the Dark, released in 1992. If there were other horror games that came before it, Alone in the Dark is the first one to introduce a character walking in a haunted house, and most importantly, in 3D. It inspired many games after it, the most popular being Resident Evil in 1996. This icon of survival horror games is back in 2024 with a remake. Players will be able to explore the adventures of either Edward Carnby or Emily Hartwood as they try to uncover the mysteries of the Derceto Mansion. Little Nightmares 3 continues the haunting trend that the franchise has built up so far by putting you once again in the role of characters desperately trying to escape the nightmarish realm they live in. In the third entry, you play as Lo and Alone. These two are desperate to escape the spiral, a place of no hope where monsters dwell. The game will feature co-op for the first time, so you'll need to work with a friend to solve puzzles and survive. Easily one of the most anticipated remakes coming out, Konami is taking a dive back into there to dredge up a return to an infamous place. The Silent Hill 2 remake will be a complete remake of the original PS2 classic and feature next-gen graphics that will help take players to a new level of horror. When a man gets trapped in the infamous town of Silent Hill, he must ward off monsters and learn the horrifying truth that lurks within. You're in for a treat if you haven't experienced this game yet. A horrifying, mind-bending treat that helped set the standard in the PS2 era and possibly will do so in the PS5 era.
I'm ready.
When Ichiban got his first solo adventure, one that was a clear departure from the Yakuza-focused titles he was birthed in, gamers were amazed by how fun it was and the various things they got to do in it. Well, in like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, you'll get to be Ichiban again. But this time, things are bad for our favorite protagonist. When a trip to Hawaii goes horribly wrong, Ichiban must work his way up from the bottom once again to re-establish himself, find his long-lost mother, and avoid the people trying to kill him. Team Ninja's next major game release is Rise of the Ronin. This game will throw players into the 19th century as a Ronin in Japan. During this time period in history, Japan goes through a series of challenges. Civil war, diseases, and Western interests should create a compelling backdrop for the video game. So far, we know that players will embark on a dark journey and help shape the narrative as they progress through the campaign. Gameplay looks to be quite action-packed as well. Since this is taking part in the 19th century, you're not only using a variety of blades when attacking an enemy, but also guns appropriate for that period. Crimson Desert is one of many titles about survival that you will find, but what makes this one so interesting is that you are truly given a massive and very unforgiving landscape to try and survive in via the lands of Pyrrole. Not the least of which is because the lands are asunder with war, and as a result of that, you need to be careful about what you do in the lands, because the stories you make will define the stories to come. You'll need to get others to help you on your quests as well, because it's dangerous to go in alone. Ubisoft has been putting out plenty of titles over the last several years and has many franchises returning from the depths to be seen in new lights. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown will be one such attempt to bring a franchise back. In it, you'll play as a bodyguard to a prince, but the prince eventually gets kidnapped and taken to a mysterious realm that was thought of as myth. You're separated from your comrades and now must use your skills and talents to make it through a dangerous landscape. Wield abilities old and new to face these dangerous threats and complete your task of finding and saving the prince. The developers of the Batman Arkham series are back with a brand new game. Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League follows the adventure of a team of supervillains as they are forced to cooperate to save Metropolis from an alien threat. This action-adventure game features 4 well-known DC supervillains: Harley Quinn, Deadshot, Captain Boomerang, and King Shark. Each member of the squad has their own special abilities that they use to fight opponents around an open-world Metropolis. Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League looks like a funny take on the usual superheroes' adventures.
No escape from my wrath!
Skull and Bones was unveiled to be a pirate tactical action game. Players will take the role of commanding your ship, searching for loot, battle, and avoiding the law. The game was mainly showcased with players going around the oceans on a ship, so there didn't look much in terms of freely roaming around on land. Initially, the previous development update had this game coming out towards the end of 2022. Unfortunately, Ubisoft required more time to work on the project, which pushed the game back to now potentially sometime in 2024.
Fire as she bangs!
In this run-based driving survival adventure, you face supernatural dangers on each expedition into the Olympic exclusion zone. Make your base of operations in an abandoned garage where you'll research new parts, customize your station wagon, and chart routes deeper into the zone. As you gather precious resources and investigate what's been left behind in the zone, you learn exactly what it takes to survive in this unpredictable, hostile environment. Stellar Blade is a title that's coming exclusively to PlayStation systems, and yet, we honestly haven't heard much of it since its announcement back in 2021. It was supposed to release this year, but there's no true update on that front. What we do know comes from the initial trailer that shows a lot of fast-paced action that has reminded people of other franchises like Bayonetta and God of War. The game is both post-apocalyptic, yet isn't set too far into the future. You'll play as Eve, who is sent to fight off the monsters that are still trying to take over the planet. A lot of action and adventure awaits you whenever the game comes out.